Canada. And he was Archbishop from 1974 to 1977. By then it was not only Uganda, it was Uganda, Rwanda, Boga, Zaire, and it was a big chunk to manage. But by the grace of the Lord, he managed. So that is what's up. But nevertheless, today we are great and happy that we are in studios again and in your screens to make sure we discuss and make sense, perhaps on things that we feel need to be made sense of. And again, today I'm grateful that I have one of the men who has proved to be a serious general in this show. To my right is Engineer Chibuka, Ronald. How about you say hello to the viewers?
Thank you, Emmanuel. Good evening, viewers. What a wonderful and joyful time to be together once again. We bless the Lord for a time like this, and we'll pray that may His grace prevail in all that we do, and to each one of you who is viewing.
And then to my left is a lady. In Uganda they call them hardcore ladies. She's called Hubote Rebecca. Hubote Rebecca is a lawyer by practice, and so she will be giving us her views today on this show. Hubote, how about you say hello to the viewers?
Hello everyone. Hello Uganda. Thank you so much, Emma, for having me in this show. I'm grateful to be here, and we pray that may God guide us as we discuss what we have today. Oh,
that's cool. Yesterday was Valentine's. Did anything happen?
A lot of things happened.
A lot of things happened. What happened? Highlight. What made news for you about Valentine?
About Valentine? Actually, previously, before Valentine, I had the men already quoting a scripture from the Bible saying that no weapon formed against their own it shall prosper.
I wonder which scripture that is.
So for me, I decided that okay, no problem. I did my normal business, so forgetting that there is Valentine. But I was happy for those ones who received the gifts. Engineer, and enjoyed the day.
I imagine those should be stingy men of Uganda. Well, Engineer, tomorrow is Janani Luum Memorial Celebration.
Yes.
What one thing do you remember about Janani Luum, and what much do you know about him?
Thank you, Emmanuel, and all Ugandans out there, more so the Anglican fraternity. Tomorrow is quite a day to remember. Janani Luum is one of the strong men who stood in faith against all odds. And one statement I remember is a man who gave up his life in the name of the rights of those that he was leading. The Christians that God gave him in his hands. And I remember a statement he made, he said, I can't keep quiet when you are killing Ugandans. Such a statement was a very great statement. Even now, it lingers into our minds. Is one of the rare personalities you cannot forget. Quite a number of years have passed, but you can rarely find a man who can utter such a statement, given the times. Well, today, as we look at the challenges around us, most in our country, you can see a lot of things happening. Some people have got wounds on their torture, this or the other. So many things happening. But I want to remember that even today, one of the MPs is to be removed from the parliamentary commission where I was sitting. I think a motion was like, I see. Reason being, they questioned the powers that be, more so the speaker or the regular speaker. But how can Ugandans be tortured the way they are tortured? And some other MPs said, no, that's undermining the speaker. Therefore, we want to make sure that you're removed.
To uproot you from where you are.
Exactly. But now when you look back at a man like this, he knew his life was in danger. But again, on the other side, he knew he had a mandate. God called him for a purpose, which he had to fulfill. And he said, if it's to give up myself,
I would
this
rather.
independence, let it be. And now when we call him a saint, he was what being celebrated. That's what I would say.
And he dared to say such a statement in the times of a dictator, General Idi Amin Dada. Well, that's not what we are discussing today. We want to deal with young people today, now that yesterday was Valentine's. And I'm sure some elderly men celebrated it somehow, somewhere. But then we want to get it from the iceberg of the young people. But courtship, we want to make sense of premarital times before you get married. As a lady, what would you be looking for in a man who would be intending to marry you?
Okay, as a lady, we ladies, of course, may give a general view. We ladies, we look for different things from different men. But for me, as me, and some other ladies who are also with me, most times we look for, character and the intentions, and we look at the people who want to have a relationship with you, but with no intention of marriage. So you have to try to identify one who has that intention, and it's not easy, but it's possible. Then also the character. There are characters that you can't, because even though when they approach you, I have this character. It's a no-go area. But so there are characters that attract you as a lady. And
then there are characters that
will chase you away.
Which ones are those that chase you away?
There are many characters that can chase. Of course, as you mentioned, those ones of the Association of the Stingy Men Association. Those ones chase away.
And they are still in the conference, by the way.
That is the reason. Actually, right now, the ladies who have such characters are regretting why they have such a character, because people are receiving flowers, people are receiving money, people are receiving phones, people are receiving dresses, people are being taken out. He's in the conference.
But
however,
why should it be only ladies to receive?
No, ladies, even the gents can also receive.
Eh?
Yes.
Okay.
It's a two-way thing. It's a relationship where it's the fact that I am looking for a good character, he is also looking for a good character. So most times, okay, we ladies, we think, me, I want a good man. But the question also should be in the back of your head that, am I a good woman? Can I also, because I'm praying for a good man, he's also praying for a good woman. So it's a two-way thing. And for me, as personally, I think the giving of gifts should be a two-way thing. It should be balanced. If it doesn't matter who gives more, because most times we ladies, you have to give us more. Yes, so that we ladies, we're easily, those are things that make us happy. So to make a woman happy and lady happy, you have to give her more. Though she will give you.
But then they need more. But that doesn't work for the stingy men. Engineer, yes. Do some of these young people have reasons for getting into relationships? Take an instance. You've been to schools, you've done counseling in schools, I know about that. And some young girl is caught for, they call it coupling. Do they have a reason for this?
Thank you, Emmanuel. Actually, I should say, for the purpose of answering the question, in their minds, yes, they do have a reason. And they get a conviction that they do have a reason. The big question stands, is it the right time for them to do that? Because the reason could be, like we are talking about the times of now, when it comes to things of celebrations and Valentine and what, it becomes like a fever. or running all around. And everybody feels, that's why you see she said, okay, others are getting flowers, donations, what? They're in the conference. That feeling you can pick it from a certain angle. And also they have a perception that it should be that man who intends to say something or is in line that is mandated to show the greatness of love. But love and relationships, these are two quite important things that we have to assess rightly. I'll tell you, the love, there's a way people have interpreted love more so in the line of this Valentine. There's another way here, people looking at it from the agape angle of love. Then the big picture is looking at it on the sexual side of love. Now when you talk about getting into relationship of young people, they move away from what you could call agape love into the sexual love, whereby it couldn't be the right time for them to do that. And if I join it when you get to, because the question you gave her was connected to marriage. The love that leads to marriage is not a love you joke around with. And you know, sometimes you bring questions here which are really throwing us back into young age. I look back some 25, 28 years ago. I mean, because my prayer for the wife or for the person I loved in my life started right when I was around 18 there. And I've lived with her for now 21 years. So I gotten down on my knees praying for the kind of person who is coming into my life. And remember, I don't want to take you back, but you remember how I was trained. Girls were burning. So I was in prayer because at that age I started thinking that now I'll get married, I'll get a wife. But I was praying for the kind of wife I'm getting. Now, for young people to jump into things now, it's merely lustful. It's not the relationship that leads to something important. Therefore, I will say, young people entering into relationships is not the right time. And I am pointed to jumping into things which are not ready. And it has got its repercussions and the challenges that come with it, I should say. The example I can give, I think should be a simple one. Emmanuel, have you ever eaten a raw mango?
Yeah, yes, I have.
Have you ever?
Yes.
What was the taste?
It's sour.
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 In case you wanted to taste, what do you do?
Put salt or sugar.
Yes, you put salt or sugar to pick a taste in it. Are you getting it? But sometimes still, even though you put some ingredients on it, there comes a time when you hit some part and you feel really...
It enters the teeth.
It gets back. So, but actually after eating that, I'm sure each of you has ever eaten a ripe one, a really ripe one mango. What do you add to it?
Nothing.
Nothing.
Nothing. You just go it all the way. Young people, raw mangoes, you add salt or sugar. Ripe ones, you go it all the way. The relationship at another age, not the way to go. When you wait for the right time, it moves well. That's what I could say.
In Arua, where I got a wife from, they don't tamper with raw mangoes. They always have to leave them to get ripe, then you can harvest. Rebecca,
Yes, please.
why have certain relationships not worked out, even when people are of age? For him, he prayed for a wife. Should we say others have been praying for girlfriends, and they have got girlfriends and boyfriends and not wives?
You see, as engineer said, most times the young people enter in relationship because it's not like in their head they take it that they have a reason for it, but it's not the time for it. The others, to add to what he said, The others got into a relationship because of excitement or peer pressure. Others also just wants that feeling that I also have a boyfriend or I have a girlfriend to, just to around make, your peers happy that. So because of that, it's not at that time, they're not yet ready, but the back of their mind, they take that I want a girlfriend, but the question is, are you ready for a girlfriend? Are you ready for the responsibilities that come with it?
But
and these days, girlfriends, you don't go empty-handed.
What a statement.
Stingy men are in trouble.
Okay, it's not about the money, but the thing is that
a bouquet of flowers.
No. Ladies, we need, security. Like, we need to be secure that, okay, if I'm with him, am I able to, be comfortable? Can you take care of me? That is, that is how we ladies are. You need to take care of us, and if you cannot, but you're still asking for daddy also pocket money, and the same pocket money you want to share with
share the little we have.
It reaches the time where someone else will come and give a better offer,
and you lose.
So that is why most relationships sometimes just crash. It's because they're not ready, they're not prepared. It's excitement. The excitement, as you go also eating the ripe mango. Let's say, okay, giving going with the example. The moments where you eat the raw mango and you feel the taste of with the salt and maybe sugar, but once it loses the sugar and the taste in it, all the salt in it.
The bitterness is still there.
It's still there.
No. Let me give you an example. If you, as the engineer put it, that once you're eating it, even you've mixed it with the ingredients, there's a particular time where you feel that sour taste. So there are moments where, yes, you put the ingredients, so it is still interesting, it's still nice, you're enjoying it. Once you touch that sour taste, that's when you realize it.
But should people be looking for a boyfriend? What would be the reason for getting into a relationship? I thought when you're getting into a relationship, you're thinking next should be marriage.
Yes.
And you're getting into a relationship, and what is in your head is boyfriend, girlfriend, Valentine, going out.
People just want to company. Who is going to take me out?
Yes.
Whom can I take out? Who, like among my friends, how I want to feel comfortable among them. Let me get some hot babe. I go with her.
And nowadays, ladies are very funny. They look for one who can take them out, one who can do their nails, one who does the hair. One.
Emmanuel, somebody, social media sent something very was interesting. I think I saw it yesterday. It was about some 4 or 5 young men, and they prepared themselves for the Valentine. Young men. Now, there came a time when they were hot, everything set. So now they started calling on the lines of these girls whom they are taking out. And they should have, sorry, the number is not available. Actually, a lot was happening. And it seemed that there was no clear way of connecting the ones they want to take out. Then a confusion started. This one works, this one works the other way. Totally confusion, in total confusion. So these relationships of young people, that's the confusion that comes with them. And in fact, getting to Rebecca's statement, when unpreparedness happens, and it's about passing time, seasonal way of doing things, a lot happens, and it answers that in such a kind of environment, you identify one great thing that probably each one of us quite often is looking for in a partner. Majorly that one is character. Character is quite important in any relationship.
Yeah.
Now, these young ones are in excitement, are in confusion. You know, as you say, peer pressure. What? How will they see me? What will they talk about me? I mean, such kind of thing. But now, the person who is moving to the right direction will look for character. Quite important. Leave alone the money, the ability, the what, in terms of finances and what. Ability of a particular person lies in character.
Yeah.
The character of someone speaks a lot. And that's why you see one making a statement and say, Rebecca is a wife material. Emmanuel is a husband material. Okay? And then somebody says, but that one is a party animal. Because in fact we have party animals. Mostly here in town.
Yeah.
You have party animals in men, you have party animals in women. There are those who are, in fact, there's a party after party. Those kind of characters. No matter the age, no matter the status, whether educated, whether you are not, whether mature, whether young, they are there. Even at the university, you have girls who are coming up after the education, but they don't even want to think about settling down. No. Their life is about what's happening.
Where is happening?
Places. Where is it happening?
What is trending?
What's trending? It's just that kind of life. And eventually, at some time, it catches up back with them. Because a lot of time goes. And by the time somebody thinks of getting a relationship that can last, will not know what it takes to get there. I told you, I took time on my knees, speaking to my God, knowing what I wanted, praying for it. Now this person who is wasting a lot of time in happenings will not have such a mind, and they will think that's a waste of time. And as that time passes, by the time that person thinks to settle down and think of the right direction, nothing seems to make sense. And it has been lost. All of it has been lost. You start finding somebody in the struggle after struggle, struggle after struggle, because somebody maturing and settling down into a rightful-minded person, whether a man or woman, it takes a lot. This person you are settling down with means a lot in your life. I'll give you an example. Each one of us is born like a child, and you grow through stages. But I want to ask you, a person spends where does a person spend more time of his or her life? In the hands of parents or in the hands of a partner? In your own home when you marry.
You actually spend more time in your own home.
Exactly. Let me tell you, in our culture, if somebody is born and raised, go to university, go education, finish university, and you remain in daddy's house or mommy's house sitting there, something wrong might be thought about.
Actually, during the graduation, they start saying, your friends have come. Is he the boyfriend?
And they start in that talk. But again, the moment you remain at home, they start saying, but there's something wrong with that one. This one. Now, that's why you see that some people, to beat that, now they start thinking of acquiring a unit somewhere, an apartment. You find a young lady, he's settling somewhere alone. What happens in there? A group of girlfriends, friends, they come here, let's go party, that's the life. But in the rightful sense, that person who is maturing should be focused on the right direction. And that's the happiness of the parents, to see you that you are moving into the right direction. And you settle for the rest of your life in the rightful hands, and you live a rightful life. Actually, that's the cry of every parent. That's why you see, when you travel far away to the village where you come from, they will be happy to say, now, Emmanuel has crossed into a man, because they've been preparing you to be a man. Rebecca has crossed into a lady, because that has been the preparation. But the moment you hang around and you are there, you cannot answer some of the prominent questions from the parents. Questions, they remain in them and they will never settle.
Rebecca, should every relationship end in marriage?
Yes, that is the ideal from the beginning.
That would be the understanding.
Yes, that is
but should all of them end in a relationship?
If asking, should all relationships end in marriage? Not all relationships end in marriage. The fact that it's supposed to end in marriage, but not all of them end in marriage. Because, you see, relationship, let's say today we're talking about courtship. Courtship is a period where you get to understand the person you're getting married to. You see, it's a process. It's a period that you have to utilize it to understand his background, his characters. You know, if you don't like it or you feel uncomfortable with them, that is the moment where you can say, I'm not going to marriage with someone, because marriage is a lifetime commitment. And if you do not prepare and understand the person you're going to enter in marriage with, that marriage is bound to fail. And that is it. You know, that's why most blessed ladies or men are crying in marriage, because they did not take that time in courtship to understand their partner. You know, that's when you realize, this character, I can compromise with this, but this one, I cannot. You know, then you weigh and see. If you can't handle, you withdraw.
If you can,
proceed with marriage.
we are due for a short break. When we return from that short break, engineer should be telling us if every marriage should not end, if every relationship should not end in marriage, then how do you break the news to your partner? Whether a man or a woman, how do you break the news to your partner? We'll be back shortly after a short break.
Let's talk.
Let's talk.
Let's Talk is an uncensored program on Family TV that attempts to answer questions that are unanswered within our church settings. Questions like sex and money, drugs and alcoholism, prophecy and prophets in our country. So, catch us at 9 p.m. every Tuesday on Family TV as we explore different topics and make attempts to answer the different life topics. Every Tuesday with me, Emmanuel Odeke. Let's talk.
Do you know that you can now enjoy great enriching shows anywhere through the Family TV app? Here is how to download it. Open Play Store on your phone. Search for the Family TV app. Click Install. After installing it, open it and enjoy enriching content anywhere, everywhere, anytime. Family TV, enriching lives.
Do you have a business that you are looking to grow? Advertising with Church of Uganda Family TV is the way to go. We are located on Church House, level 13, along Kampala Road. We offer favorable rates and an extremely creative production team that will work with you to take your business to the next level. To give us a ring, call us on 0781 084215 or 0750 655232. Church of Uganda Family TV, enriching lives.
Let's talk.
Let's talk.
Let's Talk is an uncensored program on Family TV that attempts to answer questions that are unanswered within our church settings. Questions like sex and money, drugs and alcoholism, prophecy and prophets in our country. So, catch us at 9 p.m. every Tuesday on Family TV as we explore different topics and make attempts to answer the different life topics. Every Tuesday with me, Emmanuel Odeke. Let's talk. Welcome back from that short break. As we're still discussing, I wish you'd get what happens behind the scenes. But nevertheless, I told you when we return, we'll still be making sense of pre-marital times and what happens, what should happen, how we perhaps should look at certain things before we get married. And perhaps Rebecca's just told us not every relationship should end in marriage. So if it can't end in marriage, how do you break the news? Engineer?
Well, thank you, Emmanuel. Of course, the ideal could be that people who are getting together, they get together for a purpose. And if it cannot get there, then how do you break the news? I'm privileged. I happen to be one of the pre-marital counselors, me and my wife. And actually, we've counseled quite a great number of couples. And actually, this year we are arranging some time. We want to host all the couples that we've counseled with a line of making sense of how they are moving, assessing situations, and how we can handle them. Now, if it's not to work out, how do you break the news? We get back to character. In this line of courtship, you do various evaluations into personalities. Whether you're a lady or a man, you do that. Previously, in our culture setting, it was the mandate of our elders to assess the young people and their families. And for us, they used to say, that home, no. The other home is right. That one is this. And it was to do with assessing and making sense of where their child is going to settle, where their daughter is going, where their son is picking a wife. Because a wife material could be assessed by parents and tell that this one will be. And now, if it was not going to work out, even though you people had gone, maybe had started talking to each other, parents will sit each one of you, 8 of you down and say, you, according to ABCD, we don't seem to think this is right. Now, for you to, given the days like today, if you assess and say, if I'm to say, maybe I put 10 and say I'm assessing out of 10, and say, this guy, I love him so much, but I think he can make 4 out of 10. Therefore, I cannot take on this person for these reasons. How do you do it? There are several ways of doing it, but it depends on the assessment you make. For example, is this guy willing to cross and meet some of the elders, of your elders? If that person is not, then that one's a leeway at some point. Because if he's not willing, then he's not the right person to take care of you. Either way. Because you belong to a certain family. You come from a line of elders. So that person meeting the elders will be known that, okay, now a few questions the elders will ask, the person will be able to answer them. Because that's the line of assessment. So if that person will not be able, that's one way. The other way, you can be looking at the person as you talk. Say, my friend, based on A, B, C, D, I think we can hold it for a while. Let's continue understanding each other. Tactfully, because today we're having a very kind of dynamic and evil society. A person who comes to you and proposes, and you say, okay, fine, or I'll think about it, or even you start off, will imagine that you are now a possession of that person. And therefore, one wants to take charge and control over you. I'll give you an example. Last time I was offended as a parent, deeply offended. I came across a certain scuffle between a young lady and a certain young man. And the young man was saying, he was pushing this young lady into sexual activities. Then the young lady was not there. Then the man was saying, but you are eating my money, you're eating a lot of my money. What? Oh, which money? I bought your phone. I said, phone. This cabinet, which even got spoiled. Then the man said, but even then, I also gave you money. He said, how much? What money do you give me? Do you remember? I gave you 3,000 so that you add on 2,000 and I go and make you hair. And I felt so bad as a parent.
That man should have been part of 3,000 to make hair.
Yes, but now look, making sense of this, that person now had believed that the other is a possession.
Yeah.
You see?
Entitlement.
And these are kind of the characters that we find out there within society. don't mind about the level of 3,000, but there may be a grade of certain amount and that. I pay for apartment, I do this. In fact, some of these ladies move away from parents. And then when they move, these guys, they are kind of dating, they even start paying apartments where they stay. And they become possession. So some of them are even forced into getting pregnant when they are not ready, and they don't know even for whom they are getting pregnant. But because they gave in themselves and circumstances around them dictate, so that's what happens. But breaking it can be tactful in normal sense. The lady or the man who has assessed the partner, you assess this person and then find a way of how to break this. Because if you just open your mouth loudly, you might end up losing a life. You might end up losing a life.
That's true.
So, taking care of this, how you break it, depending on the assessment you've made.
On the person, you're breaking the news.
Exactly. That's why I say,
because
the character of this person.
You may either lose the other person, or the person may lose you.
Exactly.
But just to add to what India said, you see, when you're breaking some of this news to the partner, that's why, you know, in the process of understanding or knowing who this person is, as you said, assessing the person, if he has, you know, if you find a man who has somebody he looks up to, let's say he has a mentor or a father, an uncle who at least he listens or respects, you know, you can use such a person to break the news to him. Be like, I think me and him, you know, because of these issues, because of these indifferences and all that, so we can't say, like, seem to work together, work it out. So it's better we, you know, become, let's say, go our different ways, or let's try something else. Or sometimes you can say, maybe, you know, we are lacking. Let us, you know, go for counseling or look for other ways. Yeah, then with time, you know, as ladies, most way to break up with the man, I think, is just, you don't take his calls. Today you take one, tomorrow you don't take, the other day you take. And before you know it, even he gets tired. And
so you reduce on the calls.
Communication. Because the truth, in a relationship, once you cut communication, there is no more relationship. What is there to be doing?
Is the relationship about communication?
No, communication is very important in a relationship.
Yes, it is important, but is it the relationship?
It's not the relationship. However, if I cut communication, that means there's no relationship.
She's saying it's the biggest ingredient.
That would
the biggest ingredient, and if you've removed the biggest ingredient, that means it is.
It's dying slowly.
Yes, it dies slowly. You kill it slowly. Give it like you're giving poison to, you know. Before you know it, it's dead. And you move on. You'll be the one. Let's say that for the lady.
Emmanuel,
you'll be the one to come and say,
she brought up
sorry.
a very important point about mentorship. Actually, in the character of a partner you are connecting with, in the few times when you are linking up and the talks and what, and find out who each one of you is, you can always tell whether she has gotten a role model or a mentor, or he has gotten that person. A person who is mentored in the happening places, every time, will not hide that.
Yeah.
Actually, in the first 2-3 minutes or days of your meetings, of your talk, you will be able to tell. A person who is mentored through a church setting or environmental setting, or a mature person setting, person of character integrity, who is mentored, also will tell.
Yeah.
Will tell and say, okay, I think what I look into this person, partly this one is built in. And therefore, somebody who has gotten a mentor or a role model to look up to is a person who is open to learning. Is a person who is open to change. But a person who is mentored by a certain environment will always look up to maybe building on to what that person has gotten. For example, somebody, the mentor drinks in 5 clubs a night. Yes. What do you expect that person to do? The next day will say, okay, but you know that in Nairobi there's a new place they have just opened.
And they have to travel to Nairobi.
Exactly. the other time we hear all the funds, all the money I've gotten or what, now Las Vegas. You say, okay, I think we should get there. The other day Dubai, then that's the life.
So they know the entire happening places.
Exactly, all over the world.
Actually, they put it, they put it upon themselves to know
The places.
The places.
Exactly.
Now, with that, are there things you can compromise with for the sake of the relationship to grow up and get into marriage?
Yeah.
Where is the place of compromise? Are there things you can compromise with? Are there things you say, this one?
You see, in every character, there are those. There's a character that you can't compromise. There are those ones that you know that you can't teach somebody. Like they say, an inborn character. You can't teach somebody out of it, or you can't change that person. Even you to talk to the person can't change. Now, those are characters that you cannot compromise. But the characters where you know that this one, I can nurture this person out of it, or I can nurture this person into this kind of, but like a person who is flexible, and is a learner, is willing to learn, she's willing to learn, she's under, let's give an example, let me give you an example of cooking. There are ladies who don't know how to cook, but you're going to find a lady who doesn't know how to cook, but she's willing to learn. Now that is, you can compromise with that, because she's willing to learn. You'll be like, it's understandable, we will learn in the process. And before you know it, she'll become a cook, and but there are those ones who don't know how to cook and they don't want to learn. And when you try telling them, you will be a bad person. It literally, they will see, you're stressing my life. My father didn't, my mother used to even talk to me about cooking. Why is, cleaning and all that stuff. Now, those are characters you can't compromise with. Just imagine now you bring your friends home and your wife cannot cook, and she's not willing to cook. There's a story of a lady who served the man's guests with ice cream. Because there was nothing to at home, but there was ice cream in the fridge.
In the African culture, for an African man, you bring, like serious, you bring your ice cream?
Yes. Our kids then.
Now, you see, there's another example also of a man who married his wife, but the woman, keeps clothes and soaks, after soaking it, it stays for days. She's not washing it, and this man, he's trying. He can't even come out and tell her to face on that. He feels if he tells her, she'll be offended. However, the clothes are there. It's in the name of it is soaking, and she has not got time to wash them. Then this story, what the man did, he removed the clothes, put it in the cupboard, told the lady, let us first go home and see your mom. We want to visit her. When you reach there, remove the clothes from the boot, put it before the mother, and told the mother, here's your daughter, train her. I'll come back for her when she has learned. He went. So I don't know what happened.
Before you're dragged home with clothes.
But you see, those are characters you can't compromise with. If she can learn,
well and good. If she can't,
if she can't, yeah. So that is it.
Engineer, is there a place for change in character in case somebody failed to change when they were still in courtship? Is there any hope that they can change after they've gotten married?
Thank you. The chances are so rare, but of course, as she said, there are some situations which can be learned and changed. Given two things are quite important in a relationship, as I was saying. One is character and the other is attitude. Somebody's attitude towards a particular situation or behavior. Because there are people whose attitude is quite strange and it's unbearable. It's unbearable. Because, like you said, a lady comes, a man comes, a few of his friends to the house, and then the lady goes to the fridge and picks ice cream. And the man plays it cool and says, fine. Or also plays the friends. But of course there might be an attitude of man who reacts and then you find kicks and slaps and what. And there are ladies who cannot bear with such attitude of, somebody furious.
Yeah.
Somebody, because whether you are a man or a woman, somebody who is such a furious is unbearable. Because any time, any moment, a tragedy might happen out of such an attitude.
Yeah.
I remember one time, and they were trying so much to make sure that this young man was arrested. They had an argument with the wife, and they have a 4-year-old young baby. Now, the man was fighting the wife. The wife runs away. Then, as the man walks in the compound, he comes across a child running towards the mother, and he gave a slap that made the baby to, like a fly, and be thrown the other side. So such characters, even though you're a man, they are unbearable.
Yeah.
There are things which you can assess and say, okay, in a courtship as we looked at it, you try to assess the person, how the person behaves. Maybe Emmanuel and Rebecca are friends, and Rebecca is dating Engineer. Now Engineer and Rebecca are together. Then Emmanuel makes a joke or some kind of call, and then within a blink of an eye, the Engineer is on top of his toes, and a few slaps run around in a courtship. They are there in this kind of environment.
Bad temper.
Yes.
Yeah,
what happens? So there are some assessments you make and know this person. There are ladies who can lock their husbands out. No. She locks the house.
I don't know where you were. Yeah.
Go back to where you
Go back where
Emmanuel gets out of studio. It's a little challenging late. By the time he jumps into the parking, the tire is flat. He's struggling with changing the tire. The moment he gets home, I was watching the show. Tell me now.
Where were you?
Go back where you see. So they are, all these are things that are around us. But of course, in the courtship, a lot of assessments are made. Sometimes they are covers. Because there are some people who are good at pretense. Some people are good at pretending. And they cover up and they smear it. But of course, it's not true that it's hidden and hidden forever. At a certain time, if you are so keen and so careful, some signs start showing. Some signs start showing. And as they show, they are giving you some kind of lesson to learn. You keep learning and say, okay, this can be better. So, if we say that you are marking out of 10, you say, okay, in this guy, if I pick 6, I can bear the rest.
The 4 you can throw behind the back.
But you find the person, in all, you can have 1 or 2. Say, God of heavens.
Run for your life.
Yeah, you have to run for your life.
Hellfire now waiting for you.
Run for your life.
Our time is almost done.
Yeah.
Becky, what would be your last remarks as per our topic of today, making sense of premarital times as young people? What would be your last word to the young people today?
My last word to the young people today about our topic, making sense of premarital times. I think the young people should, let us not be overclouded with the excitement of love, but let us open our eyes. There's a moment where, yes, the emotions come in, but the moments put it aside and assess somebody, for who they are.
Look beyond love.
Look beyond love. See the characters. Do not say that, this character, I will change. The characters that you can't change. For a person who's grown up, the mother, the father tried, and the person is still the same. Who are you to come and change that person? You see, you can't. So let us avoid for the ladies or for the men that we are going to change so and so. And I think if you realize that this person has a particular percentage of what you like in your partner to be, or your future husband or wife, learn to accept the person whole, like the whole person. Accept him or her. Do not again say, because during the premarital, that is again you realize when you're married that I did wrong. I wish I did not, because you fail to accept the person. But if you're going to compromise, let's say that out of 10, you accept the 6. I mean, you to take the 6 and the other remaining 4, you be like, I'll put it behind me. Then make sure it's behind you, and accept that person and see how we communicate on how we can nurture the relationship together. So premarital
with the 4 behind.
With the 4 behind, and seeing how you can make the 4 to also come in front as a team. I see, not as an individual. I will do it myself. I will force you to do it. So with the young women and the young men who are in a relationship right now, let us take courtship very serious. Let us make sure that it's not about love. Yes, it's about the love, but aside
but look beyond the love.
Look beyond the love.
Thank you very much, Engineer.
Yes.
Your parting shots as per today's topic to the young men who are not yet married.
One, love is a sweet thing,
Yeah.
and love is patient. Well, if you want it to be sweet, do it in the right way. If you want it to last and then you really feel you love somebody, patience plays a very important role, and move together until you get to the top of it. I'll give you 2 examples. People are excited. Look beyond what you can see. People are looking at the outer look of the suit, nice look in the car somebody drives, the money holds, these gifts around, and then you don't look beyond that. And then you get blindfolded. More so, young ladies, because there are so many people who are throwing around gifts. But if you are making sense of the person, look beyond what you can see. And look at the inner attitude and character of the person. Don't be excited because cries will come around you. I'll give you an example. In this ending Valentine, I saw something where a young man was chasing after a certain young lady, and the young lady was running away. But eventually the man was insisting, and the lady got convinced, and I think they had their good time on Valentine. That was on 14, which was yesterday. And then somebody gives the perspective of 14th November, when now the young man is running, the young lady is running after him with a stomach. Cannot come and take care. That was a challenge. Why not? I should say, let's be patient. Don't be sad about anything. A man made a statement. He said, for you who didn't get any Valentine or something, don't be sad for that reason. Why? Because even many people didn't get AIDS on the AIDS day. So, be very careful.
Relax, because you didn't get a flower. Thank you very much, Engineer, and Engineer Ronald and Rebecca, for making time for the show. Are you hunting for a boyfriend, or you are hunting for a husband? Men, are you hunting for a girlfriend, or you're looking out for a wife? Maybe you need to make that clear, and make that clear in your head so that you know what you're pursuing. Perhaps it will guide whatever decision you have to take, knowing that beauty is beyond what you see outside here. Beauty is beyond the 6 packs that the ladies are dying for. Beauty is beyond figure 8 that the guys are dying for. I think boys need to get it right, and even the girls need to get it right. They say we want a guy who is marked 6 packs, and then get it right and make sure you take responsibility of everything. How about you take responsibility of what you did yesterday? From I and the team, it's a good night. Big thanks to the team behind the cameras and the guys in the production. Thank you so much. My name is Emmanuel Odeke, the host of Let's Talk. Till we meet again next Tuesday. Have a good night. God bless.
Let's talk.
Let's talk.
Let's Talk is an uncensored program on Family TV that attempts to answer questions that are unanswered within our church.